here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? It is Thursday. I know this is a little bit later than we usually go live, but man, I'm excited to talk some football. We've got a lot of fun stuff planned as some new news has surfaced for the 49ers regarding Dee Ford. We're going to talk about that. We're going to jump into the salary cap and some updates that were there. And then we're going to talk about probably the number one priority free agent. And that's none other than Trent Williams, left tackle, who's been with the 49ers for exactly 1 year. Where are those contract situations currently with the cap? Because that is going to impact it big time. But also, man, I'm going to play the doomsday scenario. The small percentage of what if the 49ers are not able to come to a long-term deal with Trent Williams? What would the draft, going into the draft, look like without big Silverback on the left side? So we're going to be doing that and going to go through an entire mock draft, which was a lot of fun. I spent way too much time on this. I was planning on recording at 4 p.m. And man, I just got into it and just went down some rabbit holes. And man, I look up at the clock and sure enough, an hour and a half has gone by. And it's that season, right? The NFL draft is Christmas for NFL fans. It's what it is. It's where I've gotten my start, and I just freaking love it. Shout out to the Countdown crew. I see everybody showing up strong. I freaking love it. Let's do this, man. Yeah, Jason, I am with you. I can't wait for free agency and how that affects our draft. And, you know, that's an important point you put there, Jason, because this front office, their entire MO, you know, we've got a little bit of a track record now with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. They will plug every single hole, gap, at least with something. They will not go into the draft where it's, oh, we have to have a left tackle. They're going to find, and you know, this year's going to be harder than ever because of the lower cap, but they're going to sign cornerbacks. We're going to have 2 to 3, you know, definitely not to the extent of, man, an all-pro corner and an all-pro, you know, center and all those things. But guarantee you this, they will sign and fill those holes so that when they go into the draft, they are not pigeonholed into certain positions. Now, they could have a plan and hope to still upgrade those positions, but free agency is going to impact this huge. And so I love that. Here we go. Let's get into this. And this was a question that was sent to me from John, not myself, via Gmail. He said, "Hey, John, hope all is well. I have a 49ers related question for you. Maybe you can give me some insight. Can the 49ers release Dee Ford even if he is injured? And if he's still injured, what would we have to do for an injury settlement and cut him right away? How's that all work out?" Well, you know, there's sites like overthecap.com, Spotrac, great sites with a lot of information. However, these contracts are not simple, you know, 5-year, $25 million deal. It's $5 million a year. That's not how it works. There's so many little caveats in there. Again, with Trent Williams, he can't be franchised this year. That was written into his contract whenever he renegotiated to come to the 49ers. And if you're in the back of your mind thinking, well, why the hell did we add that in there? Remember, Washington wanted to trade Trent Williams to the Minnesota Vikings for a second-round pick. Trent Williams turned that down because he wanted it. So he finessed his way to come to the 49ers, which we should all be thankful. And we paid a very low price. And a reward was restructuring his deal, getting more cash up front, and taking away that franchise tag. So, and all that to say this, with Dee Ford, we just found out that he has an injury guarantee built into his contract for the year 2021. The 3rd-year injury guarantee. One of the best moves by agents that they can get done. So what the hell does that mean? Well, if you look at his contract, April 1st is a very, very big deal. Because you can cut Dee Ford and move on. But if he's not healthy, if he doesn't pass a physical, now the 49ers have some major issues. Okay, he has an $11.6 million injury guarantee for 2021 after April 1st. Now, what does that mean? Okay, theoretically, if he passes his physical, you can cut him and you save a lot of money. Well, how much money? Let's look at this. So let's play this out 2 different ways. Let's say hypothetically, he's healthy. You cut him, that's only $4.8 million dead cap. That's it. But if the rest of it comes back to you. So you're saving, 12 plus million on this deal. But the problem is if he doesn't pass his physical, and I'm telling you guys right now, there's no way in hell D Ford's passing his physical. Back spasms, he's not there. He's not there. He wants to pass it. The 49ers want him to pass it. The best situation would be he's healthy, we pay him what he is worth, and he goes and plays for the 49ers. But as we know, that is not the case. So he already has $4.8 million dead cap. That's money the 49ers will never get back. You are paying him that this year. That's the salary bonus that is prorated. But if he fails his physical, which he will, that's an additional $11.6 million just on 2021. That carries all the way up. My math is terrible here, but $16.4 million cap hit to cut D Ford. That's what it's going to cost in 2021. You're only saving $3.7 million. Now, that's still $3.7 million a short cap year. That's what you would get back by cutting him after he failed his physical. But again, you have to designate that a post-June 1st cut. Another question I had, what the hell is a post-June 1st cut? Okay, the way contracts are written up, you can cut a player, which is before June 1st, before they make the active roster, or post-June 1st, the natural league year turnover. And what happens is every team in the NFL is given 2 opportunities, you can only do 2 a year, post-June 1st cuts. And what that allows teams to do is choose, do you want to get the cap savings this year, or do you want to spread them out over 2 years? Usually teams like to spread them out over the next 2 years. But with the shortened cap of 2021, because of COVID and all those related things, teams are doing the opposite. They want the cap relief now because everybody's under stress. So the 2 people that would happen to and would apply to is Western Richburg and D Ford. So those would be the 2 cuts. Having said that, man, D Ford's going to be rough because, again, he's not passing his physical. He's going to have a $16.4 million cap hit this year, no matter what, if he fails that physical. So even if you cut him, you're paying $16 million for a guy that's not going to play. That hurts. What are the 49ers' options there? You could work out a crazy injury settlement. Back to John's question, you could do that, where basically you say, hey, we owe you 16.4. We're cutting you regardless. Do us a favor. Instead of getting 16.4 million, we'll bump it up to 17, but we're going to spread it out over 3 years. So we're going to sign you to an extension. I know this sounds dumb, but we're going to sign you to an extension and then cut you, so that you get more money over the long term, but we're going to spread that out over 3 years. Some players will refuse to do that because where D Ford is now, he's getting 16.4 whatever million. He's getting that this year. Why would I spread that out? Well, the team helped you out a lot. They stuck by your side. We'll increase that an extra $600,000, and then you could negotiate that out and redo the deal. We'll have to see what happens. We have Parag Marante, who's probably one of the best financial guys. I know this deal would not look to say it, but hopefully he can work something out. And a lot of that information I got from David Lombardi, Matt Mayoko. They put out great work on this. But yeah, the D Ford thing is a situation. That hurts. The $11.6 million injury guarantee that a lot of people didn't know about just surfaced, and that hurts because that comes straight off the 49ers cap. Now, the good news is, the floor for the salary cap has been raised by $5 million officially. The lowest it could have been was about $174 million with some change. I think it was $174.6 million. To put this into perspective, it was $198 this year. NFL just came out and said the lowest, the floor, it will be is $180 million for 2021. So it can be higher still, hopefully crossing our fingers, but it goes up. So it's higher than that. The floor literally means it just can't drop below that, but it can still go higher. That $5 million difference, that's the difference between Kyle Juszczyk, right? He made just over $5 million in his previous contract. I think that number is going to go down to about $4 million. You sign him on a 2-year, $8 million deal, $2 million count against the cap this year. You put the rest against 2022. Everybody's happy. You move on. So there is some silver lining. Yeah, D Ford continues to kick us in the nuts. It's what it is. Football is a 100% injury position or sport. It's going to happen. You kind of take it and you move on. And it hurts. It really, really does hurt, but it's what it is. Quick question here from MK Green. John, what do you think is the best way to shore up our interior offensive line through draft and free agency? Who should we target, and what round should we draft guards and centers? I am a firm believer that the second and third round, day 2, is the ideal, perfect time to target interior offensive linemen. Sometimes you get somebody like a Quentin Nelson, that comes across that's just a transitional, a generational talent. That's fine first round. I don't think there are any of those in this draft, especially where the 49ers are picking at 12. But you look at the second and third round, and it is ripe, mainly the second round, for guards and centers that fit the zone scheme that I really, really like. And we're going to talk about those guys. Obviously, Creed Humphrey. There's just a lot of guys that are in there. Now, the popular names that a lot of people are like, oh, Landon Dickerson and guys like this, they don't really fit the mold. It's just not there. But you've got guys like Wyatt Davis, Elijah Vera Tucker, Creed Humphreys. There are people there that can play the position. If you want to wait till later, Tommy Kramer, he's kind of a 4th round target out of Notre Dame that you could look at for sure. But you don't want the big heavy guards. Kyle Shanahan, in this zone system that has been made very, very famous, it is not one of those kind of offenses that you want the big, bulky, giant offensive lineman. That's not. We have one of the smallest offensive lines outside of Trent Williams. And you say, well, Mike McGlinchey's huge. Yeah, but he's super light. He's under 300 pounds. Another guy that I really, really like, Cedarius Hutcherson out of South Carolina. You got to put a flag there next to South Carolina because the 49ers love that coaching staff. So, he's another guy, 6'4", 320. He fits our scheme. Drake Jackson out of Kentucky, and these are kind of day 3, 4th, 5th rounders. But if you're addressing a position with a 4th, 5th, 6th round pick, you're not expecting them to compete for starts. Look last year, Colton McKivitz, case in point. 49ers were going to take him in the 3rd round. He ended up falling, and they got him super, super late. He got a couple starts in, showed a little bit of promise, but he's not a starting level player currently. You get guys like George Kittle and Dre Greenlaw in the 5th round. Those are anomalies. You don't want to put your stock in those players making the roster, let alone starting. Drew Hill, we got to talk about this, right? Carson Wentz is now in Indianapolis. One, this is good and bad. Free agent quarterbacks price goes up. Guys like Sam Darnold, you're exactly right. This is a scarce quarterback market. You go back to the start of 2019, that free agency period leading up into the season last year, nobody wanted quarterbacks. None of the old guys had retired yet. There was a strong, quarterbacks coming out of the draft. You had people like Cam Newton and Jameis Winston, and these guys just sitting out there forever. That's not this year. One, some of the quarterbacks didn't pan out. Some of the quarterbacks have retired, and now everybody is trying to go after a top-tier guy. It's just what it is. Now, is Carson Wentz a top-tier guy? I don't think so. But if you look at what Frank Reich did with Carson Wentz at Indianapolis whenever he was there before he became the Colts head coach, it makes perfect sense. Now, Carson Wentz, just a quick side note, if there is any place that Carson Wentz will be successful, Colts are number 1. Amazing offensive line, great offensive weapons, amazing offensive coaches. It's a dream come true for Carson Wentz. Now, what does that do with the Eagles, who pick at 6? Because, they're now in the quarterback market. And you can say, no way, they're going with Jalen Hurts. Okay, I'm cool with that. Let's say, hypothetically, they do go with Jalen Hurts, and they just want to stay with him at quarterback. 1, you need a backup. 2, I don't think Jalen Hurts did anything to prove he is exceptionally going to be the guy. I asked this question on Twitter right after the trade. After the Wentz trade, do you think the Eagles go quarterback at 6 or just stick with Jalen Hurts? 73% said they stick with Hurts. That's almost 600 votes. We're just about 5 hours in since that trade happened. I think quarterback is in play there, but I would not be shocked if they go elsewhere. I think they're a true 50-50 team. There is no way in hell you are sold on what Jalen Hurts did. Now, you can say, all right, let's build around and see what we have. We picked up some picks for next year. We can trade up next year. Next year's quarterback class is not a guarantee, and this year quarterback class is pretty legit. I think quarterback will be there at 6, so we'll have to see what happens. And yes, you are right. The price is moving up for quarterbacks. That's just what it is. The Eagles got fleeced. $33 million dead cap, the largest in NFL history. We're talking about Dee Ford hurting. $16 million is huge. Eagles just took $33 million for a guy that they traded multiple ones and a 2 and a 3 to go get. So yeah, it's I like Carson Wentz as a player at times. He doesn't protect the ball. His ceiling is nuts. But, man, you got to protect the ball. And, again, you're worried about Jimmy Garoppolo and injuries. Carson Wentz is a whole nother thing. All right, let's move on and let's talk some Trent Williams stuff because why not? He's a hell of a player. How do you keep Trent Williams? Some news came out. Matt Barrows leaked this, that an offer was made by the 49ers front office to Trent Williams at the end of the season while the season was going on, and Trent turned it down. So does Trent Williams want to come to the 49ers? Yes, 100%. Is it a perfect fit? 100%. You look at what Trent Williams did this year, just for the AP vote on first team All-Pro, he finished third in tackles. The top two get it. Bakhtiari got 26 votes, and Garrett Bowles got 13 votes. Trent Williams got 7. So he had a great year. You know, he missed some time with COVID, stuff like that. That kind of hurt him. But he's an all-pro tackle. Historically, he has been. In his very first year back from the numerous years off, he picked up right where he left off. You know, it probably hurt him a little bit that he was on the team that he was in, but you take that for what it was. Now, you look at these guys that he's compared around. So every single offensive tackle that received an all-pro vote, Bakhtiari had the most. He gets $23 million a year. Bowles, $17 million a year. Teron Armstead got 2 votes, $13 million a year. Laramie Tunsil, who they traded 2 first-round picks for, he gets $22 million a year. And Eric Fisher down at $12 million a year. So you can kind of see where the left tackle market is. The top end, $23 million. I think that because of Trent Williams' age, because of the salary cap deficit, as we've talked about this year, I really think 18 to 20 million. Now, news came out that Jacksonville is prepared to offer more. Well, of course they are. They're freaking Jacksonville. Why the hell would you want to go play for a rebuild and a new coach that you don't know and, you know, whatever else? I get that, you know, they're getting Trevor Lawrence. Jacksonville's not competing for a minute. It's just not happening. Trent Williams has been on record saying he wants to go to a team that is competing. Why change what is working for him? I think that he's coming back, and I think, you know, 18 to 20 million, you sign a 3 to 4 year deal, you backload it, he's 32 years old, but the level he is playing right now, you got to hope that he gets there. Spotrac, who I really like that website, they have it at an $18.2 million projected offer. That's what they think that he is going to get. Now, let's play devil's advocate. Let's play with this. What happens if Trent Williams does, in fact, sign somewhere else? And again, if I'm a betting man, let's be honest, I'm saying a 90+% chance that Trent Williams returns to the 49ers in 2021. But let's play, that's 10%. Let's say he leaves. What does that mean? Well, one, you're getting a third-round comp pick. You're getting a third-round pick back. 49ers already have 2 comp picks next year and the following year because of Robert Saleh and off the top of my head, Mayhew leaving, our general manager to Washington football team. So we already got 2 third-round picks in 2021, 2022, and 2023. We would get an additional one in 2022 because he's going to sign for $18 million. He's going to immediately be in that third-round comp space. So if you look at it, again, this is assuming that Trent Williams signed somewhere else. You traded a 5th and a third-round pick for him. You let him walk, you get a third round back. Basically, you spent the number 156 pick, a 5th rounder, to get a 1-year rental for Trent Williams. That's a huge win. You look at that number 156 pick, I went back and looked at it. That it was an offensive lineman, Keith Ishmael, that they picked. I didn't know. I didn't break film down on him or anything. He took 4 offensive snaps in 2020. We got our value already. Worst comes to worst, we get a third-round comp pick back for this guy. Spend that money elsewhere, whatever else. I want Trent back. I want to pay that money to get him. But the 49ers are not at all locked. It's not who they are. And we're going to do some more free agent episodes, breaking down, you know, who's must sign, who's 50-50, and who's going to leave. Got that idea from Eric. What's up, buddy? at a future episode. But if you do lose Trent Williams, that's $18 million that you could spread around. You get somebody like a Yannick Ngakoue and Kyle Williams for that same money. So you could get an extra edge and a nickel corner. Just a couple guys that I thought fit that $18 million range combined together. So that money is going to go to somebody, and the 49ers are going to be able to plug some type of hole. But let's jump into our mock draft. Let's play this out. Assuming Trent Williams doesn't come back, what does that look like? Now, before we do the mock draft, we're going to spend some time on this. I'm pretty excited. I'm such a nerd, man. I just love this stuff. I really, really do. I enjoy it very, very much. But I got to say, man, we've got something brand new coming out for our Patreon members, okay? So head to patreon.com. We have 3 tiers there. Friend of the show, you've got Frank Gore to see all the draft videos and all that stuff. There's 250 hours plus on there. Did one this morning, which was a lot of fun, on Jalen Phillips, edge player out of Miami. But if you join the Jerry Rice tier, we're doing something brand new. It's like an extra episode of the 49ers Rush podcast, but you're hanging out with me. We're going to do Who Can Beat Me in 49ers trivia. This is going to be a blast. We're going to do a big Zoom call. Everybody that's part of that, we're going to join. I've got some other friends from some other podcasts that are going to join as well, sharing some questions just from growing up, some draft stories at the draft, things like that. And you got to beat me in trivia. And so we're going to keep our leaderboard and all that kind of stuff and just hang out, have a couple drinks, and just chit-chat for however long we got to go. So if you want to be in on this, it's going to be an absolute blast. Head over to patreon.com, 49ers Rush Podcast. Join that Jerry Rice tier. And, man, we're going to have an absolute blast. And not only do you have to beat me in trivia, we're also going to do a live mock draft together where I'm Roger Goodell, and I'm going to pick for everybody else. You guys get a pick for the 49ers. We're going to argue it out. It's going to be an absolute blast. I don't think anybody else is doing this in this medium space. So go over there. One, support the podcast. You don't like it, you can cancel right away. Patreon.com, 49ers Rush Podcast. That's the best way to support the podcast. All right, let's do this. Let's jump into this mock draft. And again, caveat, this is what if we don't sign Trent Williams. That's how we're moving forward. Now, I gave trades for the 49ers, but nobody else. And I did this mock draft at first-pick.com. I love bouncing around using different, the draft works great. First Pick, Pro Football Network has one. PFF has one. Bounce around, use them all. It gives you different views of whatever. So I did not pick for everybody else in this draft. I just was the 49ers GM. So if you're like, man, there's no way this player's going there, I get you, and I'm with you. But it's very, very important to do crazy drafts like this because nobody expected DK Metcalf to last to the end of the second round. Nobody expected Greedy Williams to last that long. Weird crap happens in the draft, and that's why you do these exercises to see, man, what if? Let's see what happens. So without further ado, Number 1, the Jacksonville Jaguars take Trevor Lawrence. That's never going to change. Number 2, New York Jets. They did go quarterback here, Zach Wilson. BYU, he's my number 2 quarterback as well. Miami, a little bit of a shakeup there. They go offensive tackle Penei Sewell out of Oregon. I love this kid. His ceiling is as high as can be. There are some drafts where Penei Sewell would have been the number 1 overall player, but in the quarterback crazy needy world that we live in, it's not happening this year. Number 4, Atlanta goes quarterback with Trey Lance, leaving Justin Fields on the board. I have Trey Lance ahead of Justin Fields. I know a lot of people give me slack for that, but that's okay. Cincinnati, they stay offensive tackle. They don't get Penei Sewell, but they get Rashawn Slater, who I really, really like. And so he was the one in the back of my mind that I was like, man, we don't have Trent Williams. I would love it if he falls because I've seen a lot of mock drafts where, Slater does fall to that 12 spot. I think that he does go kind of top 10, but somebody's going to fall. And offensive tackles are at a premium, so I get that he goes number 5 here. I was pretty bummed by that one. Number 6, Philadelphia does not go quarterback. They go edge, trying to beef up that defense. Gregory Rizzo, I thought this was a little early for him, but again, there's 2 positions that always creep up and are drafted higher, quarterbacks and edge players. This is a good edge class, not an elite. There's not a lot of elite guys. So if you want an edge player, you're going to have to reach a little bit. The sweet spot for edge players is that 20 to 30 20 to like 40 range, because somebody's going to fall there, and depending on what it is you're looking for, it's going to be there. But Gregory Rizzo, insane ceiling. He would be a perfect fit there. Detroit, number 7, they do not go quarterback. They are in a rebuild mode. They go with the captain of their defense, linebacker, Micah Parsons. He's got some character issues, but man, he fits the bill. One of the top-rated linebackers to come out of the draft in a little while. Number 8, Carolina. Can't believe a quarterback fell here. I was thinking about trading up, but I was like, man, I traded up in my last mock. Let's just sit. Let's be patient. Carolina gets a quarterback, Justin Fields, perfect fit for that system. Carolina's getting a quarterback somehow or another. I don't care what they got to do. They're getting a quarterback. They are ready to move on. They think their team is very, very close to competing. They just got to get something better under center. Denver, I thought this was a surprise pick at number 9, defensive tackle Christian Barmore. He's a hell of a player. And, man, we see defensive tackles go early all the time. Derek Brown, I think, went 7 or 8 last year. Obviously, Kinlaw went with us. We traded back from 13 to 14. Defensive tackles, if they provide difference-making ability and can help in the pass rush, they go top 10. So not a shock there, but a little higher than a lot of people have them. Number 10, Dallas Cowboys, cornerback Patrick Surtain. So many mocks have this. It just makes too much sense. Jerry Jones loves Alabama players. It's a huge need. It's a perfect scheme fit. So clean. It's a good fit. So fresh and so clean. So number 11, sorry about that. Appreciate you, Outcast. Number 11, New York Giants, wide receiver, the first wide receiver off the board. And, man, if this guy would have dropped wide receiver Jamar Chase from LSU, he's my number 1 wide receiver by a healthy margin. If Jamar Chase is on the board with the 49ers, I think you got to entertain the fact of taking him. Now, is it a huge position need? No, but this kid, whoo. And we know Kyle Shanahan likes to spend on wide receivers. He has demonstrated that. I know you got Tebow. I know you got Ayuk. But look how this offense stalled when one of them was out at any given time. It wasn't the same offense. You say, well, our quarterback was out and our tight end was out. I get it. But Jamar Chase with Debo and Ayuk, golly. I'm telling you right now, Jamar Chase is going to be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. You give that guy 2 to 3 years, he's going to be one of the best. Point blank. That's all there is to it. He's that damn talented. You go back and you start watching 2019 version of LSU's offense whenever they won the national championship, and I'm telling you right now, he was way better than Justin Jefferson. Now, I understand Justin Jefferson went ham, and what he was able to do last year was bananas, but Jamar Chase, whoo! Anyway, Giants take him. Now the 49ers are on the board at 12. And there's so many options. Man, people fell. Edge, you've got Azeez Ojulari. You've got Kwity Paye. You've got Jalen Phillips. Incredible. Cornerback, Caleb Farley. He's a top 7 player on my board. Okay, I love Caleb Farley. I've been very honest with that. J.C. Horn sitting there. Wide receiver, Jalen Waddle's still there. Kyle Pitts is still there. There's just guys all over the freaking place. Offensive tackles. This is a non-Trent Williams draft, right? We didn't re-sign him. He went elsewhere. Christian Darrisaw, Samuel Cosme. You've got these guys that are great zone blocking fits. You've got a huge need at left tackle. And at quarterback, the big 4 are gone. You got Mac Nugget Jones from Alabama. He's still there. A little too early. No way in my world I'm taking that. But, man, you're looking over this. And we're going to make a trade. I'm just telling you that right now. Because there's too much talent. And I'm stuck. There's guys I love. Caleb Farley would probably be my pick here. But, man, offensive tackle, you got to get an upgrade. You can't move into this draft or the season without a left tackle if Trent Williams is gone. So, a trade comes across the desk with a familiar face, good-looking, bald-headed man, Robert Saleh. The New York Jets offer this, and it works perfectly. From the trade calculator. The Jets offer number 23. Remember, they have 2 picks because they traded Jamal Adams. So that's the original Seattle Seahawks pick. Number 23 and number 34. So you drop back 11 spots, but you pick up the second pick in the second round, which is a premium spot. If you look at just the numbers, the 49ers number 12 pick is worth 1,200 points. on the Jimmy Johnson trade chart, which you just use as a reference. It's not, it's not scripture. You just kind of, it's a place to kind of put things in the ballpark. The Jets picks number 23 is worth 760, and pick number 34 is 560. Add those up, 1320. So the 49ers accept this trade. We're going to drop back in the first. The quarterbacks weren't there. Trade back. I love this thing. Now, I might not have done this trade if Rashawn Slater is there. That's how much I like him, okay, from Northwestern. He's a hell of a player. But I do love Christian Darrisaw. Watched some of his film this morning with Virginia Tech. He didn't give up any sacks. He's incredible. Fits exactly what we want in the zone scheme. But just the ceiling isn't as high. And so trade back. We drop back 11 spots. And again, I just named 10 guys that I like. I'm hoping one or two actually fall. So the 49ers fall back from 12. We pick up number 23 from the Jets and number 34, that second pick. Now, why the hell did the Jets trade up? They won an elite pass rusher. Kwity Paye fell far. They take Kwity Paye, and so they build around their defense. They got their quarterback. Now they're going with this edge player that is a perfect fit in that scheme. Moving on through the draft, number 13, the Chargers take offensive tackle Darrisaw. That hurt. I didn't think he was going to last 11 picks, but man, they took him right there. Minnesota, this was an interesting pick, and I like it. Linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from Notre Dame. He's a hell of a playmaker. If Micah Parsons wasn't in this class, people would be talking about him being a top-tier guy, a top 10 pick. He's that damn good. New England gets a wide receiver, Devonte Smith. Can't believe he lasted this long, but we keep seeing this trend of wide receivers dropping down further than what everybody expected because the college level is putting out so many quality ones. I won't be shocked if I have 7 first-round grades on wide receivers. It's so deep. And we keep seeing this trend that second-round wide receivers are just as good as first. It's the opposite of edge and quarterback. You got to spend it first on those QBs and the edge players, but not in the wide receiver position. New England has a huge need. They get a playmaker, Devonte Smith. 16th, Arizona. They get edge Carlos Basham from Wake Forest. He is a perfect fit in their scheme. Somebody to pair up. This is a little high for him, but he is a perfect fit for what they do. You pair him up, you put him right next to, what they got. Their main edge rusher got hurt last year and it changed everything in Chandler Jones. You pair him up with the stud. I mean, I hate this pick because I don't want him going to Arizona, and I don't think that 16 is really the spot, but that is a perfect pairing there. Las Vegas, another linebacker, off the ball linebacker, Xavier Collins from Tulsa. Very top-heavy linebacker class, and I love the things I want to see in the first and second round. I want to see linebackers and I want to see running backs. I want to see them go because every single time one of those two positions are picked, those are positions the 49ers aren't touching, and it pushes top-tier quality talent down. I freaking love that. So every time you hear a linebacker called, it's like take a drink, baby, because we're getting some top-tier talent coming down to us. So Las Vegas gets a linebacker, Xavier Collins, out of Tulsa. Miami, pick 18, wide receiver Jalen Waddle. I cannot believe he fell this far. I love their draft. They get Penei Sewell, the best offensive tackle. They get Jalen Waddle, arguably one of the top wide receivers for sure. You got the Tua connection, all those things. Miami crushed this draft so far. Washington, running back Najee Harris. Hell yeah, baby. Love to see it. Take those running backs. They need some help big time. Running back just seems a little superfluous to me, but I'm not controlling it. Don't get mad at me. Number 20, Chicago, wide receiver Cedarius Toney. Just a freak of nature. The guy's incredible. Indianapolis just traded for quarterback Carson Wentz. They get wide receiver Rondale Moore from Purdue. Another wide receiver playmaker in Tennessee. Tight end Kyle Pitts. He lasted a while. I think Jonnu Smith is going to move on. This would be an insane move having Kyle Pitts and A.J. Brown as your pass catchers. That's incredible. But now the 49ers are back on the clock at number 23. And there's a lot of guys on the board. And I like this a lot. Edge, Azeez Ojulari still there. Jalen Phillips. Offensive tackle, Samuel Cosme. Elijah Vera Tucker is now in play. I know that he's a tackle / guard. He started games at right guard, left guard, and an entire year at left tackle. He is 6'4", so he's a little undersized, but he's perfect for a zone scheme. I think that he could play tackle in a zone blocking scheme like the 49ers. If you're a power scheme, I don't think he's a guard only. So, but he's one of those hybrid guys. Very similar to what we saw with Joe Williams out of Alabama, was drafted by the Bengals. One of those guys that can kind of play either one in a versatile scheme. The 49ers have that. Do you want Elijah Vera Tucker as your left tackle? In a pinch, it'll work, but you're going to guarantee this guy's going to be on the field. He's a day one starter. Cornerback Caleb Farley and J.C. Horn are still there. I don't understand how that's possible. Caleb Farley's incredible, but this is a deep cornerback class. There are guys in the second and third round that I like at corners. There are not guys in the second and third round that I like at edge. Don't like them at all. In fact, you got Azeez and Jalen Phillips, and then you could throw Asai in there. I think he's a late second. But I'm going edge rusher because, again, we started this podcast talking D Ford. Who is the perfect D Ford replacement? It's Azeez Ojulari. 6'3", 240. If you want a speed rusher, he's the only one. He's it. That's it. This is the best one. You could talk about, Jason Owe from Penn State. No. Azeez is your guy. If you want that thing that you are barely missing on defense, that speed rusher, it is this guy. Bend and first step, extreme elite. Just finished the Patreon video breakdown of him just yesterday. So that is fresh up there. 35 minutes going through his game film, and it's an absolute blast. He is incredible. 9 sacks, 8 quarterback hits in 2020 on a shortened season. I mean, just all over the place. 4 forced fumbles in 2020 on a shortened season. No doubt our team gets better. Now what we have to do is, because we went edge, that's what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan do, right? Offensive, defensive linemen. We got to cross our fingers. We got to hope one of these tackles falls so that we can address that position. And we're in a little bit of a hamstrung area. And as soon as I hit submit this pick, I was just like, now I hate being dependent on other teams. But man, getting a premier edge player, we saw what this defense could do with that piece there. It's a match made in heaven. It just makes too much sense. All right, real quickly, let's fly through these. 24 Pittsburgh, wide receiver Rashad Bateman from Minnesota. Another guy I really like. Jacksonville cornerback, these lucky dogs. They get Caleb Farley. I'm kicking myself, man, already. I've just got too high a grade on him, but I take him all the time. I know I like Caleb Farley more than others. He's by far my number one corner. Cleveland goes corner again. J.C. Horn off the clock. Baltimore edge, Jason Owe. There are some things I like about his film, but no production whatsoever. Baltimore, they'll put him in place, and he would be successful. New Orleans at 28. Quarterback Mac Nugget Jones off the board. I think that's a perfect fit because he has the weapons and, he doesn't have elite talent, but you have seen Mac Jones be successful behind a good offensive line with great weapons. New Orleans, perfect pairing for him. Green Bay, defensive tackle Halen Twyman from Pittsburgh. They just keep bulking up. They're allergic to wide receivers and offensive position players, so they stick to that. Buffalo edge, Jalen Phillips from Miami. Wonderful story. Retired from football after a car accident, concussion problems, transfers from UCLA to Miami. Very fun player. Finished his Patreon breakdown this morning. That was a fun one. Really enjoyed that. And the worst pick of this whole damn draft, and I'm about to be pissed off. Kansas City, they take offensive tackle Samuel Cosmi from Texas. This is the guy I wanted. Now, Cosmi's going to have a second round grade for me, but and hear me out on this. He is the ideal zone left tackle in this draft. If you are running a zone scheme, he's it. A little light. He looks like a big tight end. So he reminds you, calm down with this comparison. He's athletic like Joe Staley, where he looks like Joe Staley, but he's as tall and moves more like Mike McGlinchey. And he's somewhere in between. He's still a little bit raw. He's played right tackle and left tackle in college, by the way. But this guy's ceiling, he's not even close to. Like he's got to be coached up to that position. He's a 3-year starter. He started as a true freshman for Texas. I followed this guy since high school. But he is so clean and fits exactly what you want from an offensive tackle in a zone scheme. I really wanted him to fall. The 49ers are picking 33. He goes 31. I don't regret the trade, but I'm a little bummed. Last pick in the first round, Tampa Bay, running back Travis Etienne. And that is a scary pairing there. He's my running back one by a lot. The 49ers won't be taking a running back early, but if they did, I'd want it to be him. He is a perfect fit in this zone scheme. Crazy high speed, one-cut runner, great out of the backfield, all those things. So now the 49ers have fallen to 33. We already got our edge guy in Aziz, so we're happy there. I don't think that there is any choice in this matter. There's some guys there. Edge, Osai's there. We already went edge. We're not doing that again. Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond, absolutely not. You got to go tackle, and it hurt me so bad. I was trying to go for a home run and hoping Samuel Cosme fell. He didn't. I'm going Elijah Vera-Tucker, USC 6'4", 315. I love this kid. Versatility. He started right guard, left tackle. He's undersized, but in a zone scheme, he works for left tackle. So you would start him at left tackle moving forward, and if it doesn't work out, you're getting a top-tier guard. So he's starting day one. There's no question about that. This guy could literally play every single position on the line. He's never snapped before, but you wouldn't be upset if you had to put him at center. You start him at left tackle, and worst comes to worst, you move him to right guard. I love this guy. He is just incredible. High football IQ, amazing feet. He's always just perfect and amazing balance and always in control. He probably would have been a top 20 pick, but he had a really bad Pac-12 championship. So if you don't want to like Elijah Vera-Tucker, go watch him against Oregon and Kayvon Thibodeau. He did not look well. But look at his numbers in 2020. He gave up 4 sacks and 2 quarterback hits. You don't like those sack numbers, but most of them came in one game. But he is a hell of a player and is great at pass set and just always looking clean and crisp. His best football is ahead of him. And so it's not the ideal, player that you want as your left tackle, but it's the way it fell. And so if we go back to where we traded out, I'm going to do a second-round pick as well. Whenever we were on the clock at 12, what were you going to do? Christian Darrisaw. So the question is, would you rather have Christian Darrisaw alone, or would you rather trade back and get Aziz and Elijah Vera-Tucker? So it's the 2-for-1 starters. The premier left tackle in Darrisaw at 12, just stay there and take him. You're done. Mail it in. Or trade back. Try to get lucky. We missed out by 2 picks, but you still get the left tackle in Elijah Vera-Tucker, who's a versatile, you can move him all over the line, but you also get Aziz. So you get the edge and you get the utility offensive lineman. So 2 starters for 1. I'll let you guys kind of, hash that out, what's better or not, but I like that. The offensive line got better, the defensive line got better. Now we jump to the second round pick. This will be the last pick we make tonight. Pick 43, the 49ers are back on the board. We've got a left tackle. We've got an edge player. Who's left? All right, cornerback, still a major need. You've got Eric Stokes from Georgia. Fun, a very fun player, fits our scheme perfectly. Asante Samuel Jr., Florida State. Iafetu Melifonwu from Syracuse. We picked Iafetu last week in the second round, so I'm going to stay away from that one. The crazy thing is, edge, freaking Joseph Osai from Texas is still there. If you could shake it up again, if I knew I was going to get Osai at 43, maybe I don't go Aziz. I'd probably go corner early, but hindsight's 2020. I'm not going to go back and change it. Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond still on the board. I have Mond way over Kyle Trask, but one other position still there that we need. Interior offensive lineman. If we're playing Elijah Vera-Tucker at left tackle, because again, this is assuming Trent Williams is gone. Creed, mother effing Humphrey, baby. He's still sitting there. Perfect fit, amazing scheme fit. He steps in at center. I'm taking Creed Humphrey. You already know I love this guy. He's incredible. So you walk out of the first and second round. Edge with Aziz. Perfect pairing. Elijah Vera-Tucker, zone scheme's perfect for him. Left tackle, a little bit of a stretch, but we're going to have to see how that plays out. And you upgrade center. Everybody's talking about quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, can't stay healthy, all these things. You want to keep your quarterback healthy? You draft 2 offensive linemen in the first 2 rounds. You know, you get 2 studs here in Elijah Vera Tucker and Creed Humphrey. You plug and play 3 new starters on the offense and defensive line. It's the way the 49ers are built. It's the way they're structured from the inside out. If Jimmy Garoppolo can't stay healthy in this, then yeah, you move on. There's no doubt about it. And perhaps this is the year to move on, but this draft didn't fall that way. The quarterbacks didn't fall. I didn't try to trade up. They were gone by 8, and we allowed the draft to come to us. And man, walking around with those 3 players, I'd take that in a heartbeat. Obviously you got the chance of a quarterback falling and trading up, which is going to cost a first and a second round pick. Who would you rather have? Justin Fields or Creed Humphrey, Elijah Vera Tucker, and Azeez Ojulari? This is a roster construction type of mindset where you have to figure out what's best for the 49ers. And I really do think that it's a good way to look, man, that is a bolstered offensive line. Golly. Running back's going to be so much better. The running game's going to improve. Play action. Everything is going to be better. I really like this. Let me know what you think in the comments. Tell me how I did. A+, F-, all those things. If there's one thing that I can do to upset people, it is always mock drafts. But I love them just because it gives us a peek and kind of what we're looking at here. Anyway, you guys are awesome. I didn't get a chance to read through all the comments. I was going a little too strong. I apologize about that. But man, I just get amped up about this stuff. We're already past our 45-minute mark. Again, if you want to support the podcast, the best place to do that, head over to freaking Patreon. I can't stress this enough. We're about 2 weeks out from our first meeting, which I'm pretty pumped about. Going to hang out. We're going to have a trivia. You got to try to beat me. And then we're going to do a mock draft together and tell some fun stories, have some drinks together virtually, of course. So head over there. Thank you for all of the support. This has been an absolute blast. And as always, stay strong, faithful.